Hey guys, first of all, thank you for clicking on this video, but I do want to let you guys know that this video is a little bit different because you're going to see me from the future jump in and say some new information and me from the past throughout this video. The major thing I do want to say is that when I first started making this video, I just thought that it was an interesting topic and cool to make a video on. But as I dug deeper and found out more information, this is extremely sad. So I wanted to come in at the beginning and let you guys know what we're about to get into. While this story, yes, is about Disney being hacked earlier this summer, we really dive into the victim of all this. You may think that the victim is none other than Disney the company, right? I mean, they were hacked. However, there was someone that was used throughout the entirety of this. Throughout the middle of the video, I think it's the middle of the video, we take a deep dive into this man's story, and that's where I have to come in and let you guys know that it gets extremely sad. I mean, we're going to talk about someone who got their life stripped away from them by hackers. And I do recommend watching this video all the way through, not only because, yeah, it's going to help boost this video in recommendations. That aside, this could happen to any one of us. Any of us can get hacked, and I feel like we should all protect ourselves when it comes to the internet. Not only does that mean using a VPN once in a while, but also making sure that your passwords are constantly changing and are backed up somewhere. What we're about to get into is a modern day horror story. This isn't about a monster, this isn't about a myth. This is really seeing what hackers can do to someone and ruin their life in front of everyone, and no one really bats an eye. With that being said, let's get right into the video. There's a whole different intro for what you're about to see, and that intro is about to start right now. Over the summer, Disney got hacked. Yup, this Disney. Surprising, but not so much when you actually think about it, because this wasn't the first time Disney was hacked. In 2019, for example, there was this massive wave of reports of Disney Plus accounts getting hacked and their login credentials getting sold on the dark web. People were getting random emails of their account logins getting changed. This is a whole fiasco on its own, but we're going to talk about that later. For now, let's talk about what happened this year. How did these hackers who go by nullbuldge catch Disney with its cyber pants down? Well, the short of it is that someone working at Disney got duped into downloading a Trojan horse that hackers then used to gain access to Disney's official Slack channels. This led to them getting away with more than 1 terabyte of data. Not a megabyte, not a gigabyte, we're talking about a terabyte. Unreleased projects, chats, images, code, pretty much everything. Now, I feel like to understand why this happened, we're gonna need some context. But before we get into that, how are you guys doing? My name is Tuv, and we're currently at this amount of subscribers, so if you want to subscribe, that would make my day. Actually, don't subscribe yet. I'll earn your subscription by the end of this video. And I do want to let you guys know 2 things very fast. That is that I dropped some new clothing over at earldoesn'texist.com. There are some images on the screen. Look how awesome and mature these designs are. So if you want to get yourself some amazing Exist apparel, make sure to go over to the website. And also we have Sam plushies. This little guy right here, he's a character from my cartoon, Two Gay Cats. The money I get from him directly goes to animation costs because animation costs a lot of money. So you can directly help the show by buying yourself a Sam keychain plushie. I'm gonna go ahead and leave him here until like half the video. That's it for my little intro. Let's get started with the actual topic. So this all starts with something called the Actors and Performers Strike. The SAG-AFTRA strike was going on sometime in mid-2023 around summer, and it involved that group, SAG-AFTRA, which you might have never heard of but is well known among actors and performers as it represents 160,000 of them. The strike also coincided with that of the Writers Guild of America, and both sort of had the same reasons behind them. First, writers were asking for bonuses tied to the performance of their work. So if a TV show goes on to become a hit, the writer would get equally paid more based on the success. There's a bit of complicated math behind it, that is the streaming residual formula, but that's the gist of it, paying people their worth. And that makes sense when you learn that previously streaming platforms like Disney Plus, Netflix, Max, Amazon, and the rest weren't disclosing the viewership of shows to writers in such groups. This meant that it was hard for writers, for example, to ask for bonuses if they don't even know how many people are watching the thing that they wrote. Anyway, both groups, SAG-AFTRA and Writers Guild of America, were able to negotiate the bonus structure, and according to the guild's estimation, they'd get an additional $40 million in bonus pay for their members per year. Now that's one thing that was part of the strike's demand. The other thing that's more critical to the hack we're talking about is the use of AI in the creation of movies and TV shows. Right around the time before the strike, Disney and other film companies were making AI moves that weren't well received by actors and writers. Disney, for example, applied for a patent for a facial recognition system that would allow them to sort of overlay an actor's face onto a cartoon character. Not only a cartoon character, but just put their face on another human. And in short, that's just less opportunities for human actors. Then their CEO, Bob Iger, did at one point mention they were considering AI as a disruptive technology opportunity that would help Disney explore, quote, interesting opportunities and get substantial benefits. Both moves were questioned by the Writers Guild of America over the possible breach of intellectual property and copyright law. Think of how ChatGPT has many times been criticized, even sued, for scraping content from the likes of NYT and using it to train its model to be a better writer in a sense. Also, part of what was fueling the anger for the writers was the possibility that production companies could use AI in general just to come up with scripts. Obviously, that would replace them and leave them out of a job. And for actors, the main issue was using their likeness in perpetuity. The Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, the entity that represents studios and streaming platforms, actually had to come forth and explain that bit, that they only meant to use AI on the likeness of an actor for a motion picture which the actor was hired. But even that didn't sit well with a lot of people. You might have heard that Keanu Reeves, for instance, has a clause in his contract that prevents studios from digitally editing his performances. If they want to do that, they need explicit permission from him. And as to why that is a thing, you'd be interested to know that there's already an AI startup, Flawless from London. It's shown that it's possible to edit an actor's performance with AI to fit a certain criteria. They did it on the film Fall, where they removed 30 swear words using AI without having to reshoot one time. Now I mentioned that streaming platforms, production houses, and representatives of actors and writers all agreed on a new bonus pay system. That, however, is half the story. The other side is that the agreed upon model wasn't very satisfactory to many, given it offered bonus compensation to only some films, and only for a limited time after release. This means that the original complaints weren't really solved, and the AI debate ended up without a proper agreement overall. And that's what ushers us into the hacking group. So enter the furries, nullbuldge. From an archive of their website, if you can get past this unsettling image, and yes, I know it's censored, but it's a line with an emphasis on its package. There's a pretty good description of what they were/are about and why they hacked Disney. The About Us section talks about how they believe the importance of protecting artists from theft and ensuring fair compensation for their work. Then there's the Our Beliefs section that first talks of AI-generated artwork as being detrimental to the creative industry, then second, talks of how they're against theft from Patreon or similar platforms that support artists, and last, how they support the idea of paid mods as they allow fair compensation. So overall, they just seem bent on protecting artists and creative work. Now, below all that, there's an even more interesting section that assures that anyone they hacked is because they committed one of their sins, one of nullbuldge's sins. There are 4 stated sins: art theft, crypto promotion, AI-generated artwork, and theft from Patreon and similar platforms. It seems safe to say that the AI bit is why they went after Disney. Disney is actually listed on that archive website in a section displaying some of the group's attacks. Interestingly, they have a section called Services, which seems like their revenge tactics and includes, quote, payback through honeypots and malicious mods. Very interesting. This reminds me of when we used to visit dangerous dark web websites back like 2 years ago. This is the second time I'm remembering it. We're talking about the internet a lot again on this channel, and I love talking about the internet. And I do want to bring back the dark web series. I just need to go back on the dark web, and it's kind of a pain to go through there. I'm not gonna lie, guys. It's kind of a pain going on the dark web, but if you guys leave me some support, some comments, then yeah, I wouldn't mind going on some disturbing websites on the dark web again. I think that would be pretty cool. Anyway, back to the story, and he's gonna stay here for the rest of the video. Now this brings us to the how. How did they hack Disney? What the heck even happened? According to a Reddit thread from about 5 months ago, nullbuldge was allegedly spreading malware/ransomware through game mods and AI stuff like custom nodes. For my non-gaming audience, mods just mean modifications that alter the game. That's literally it. You could get a Minecraft mod where you get guns in the game. That's a mod. And these modifications are made by the fan base. Like, it's just regular people that sometimes charge for the mod and you're supporting the person that made it. It's not by the creators of the game. Now, according to that Reddit thread, nullbuldge apparently spread its malware via fake mods of the BeamNG game and Comfy UI nodes. Now, there's actually quite a bit of drama around the Comfy UI, because as it turns out, while people initially thought that nullbuldge hijacked the Comfy UI LLM Vision project, which was on GitHub, and injected malware into it, there's a chance that the malware had been there since the time the whole thing first got on GitHub. If you're wondering why Comfy UI was targeted, well, it served people accessing Stable Diffusion. That's an AI image generation model that definitely fits within nullbuldge's sins. Anyway, it was the game mods that got to Disney. A Disney software developer manager apparently downloaded a BeamNG mod onto their personal computer, and on that computer there were the Disney Slack channels. What is a Slack channel? Slack is a cloud-based messaging app that helps businesses work together more efficiently. A lot of companies use Slack, and it's, like I said, it's just to keep in contact with each other, share notes, share private company stuff. Wink, wink. So they got access to that. This meant hackers could snoop around and see what was on the channels. They also apparently made a second attack on the same employee via an unknown method. this time downloading a lot of data from the cloud. According to an article by PC Gamer, the hackers took off with over 1 terabyte of data going back to 2019. This included quote-unquote enormous amounts of internal communications, notes on employees, photos of employees' dogs, computer code, and possibly unreleased Disney projects. Some other publication, ReadWrite, actually said the hackers got, quote, pretty much everything. Much of that aligns with what the hackers themselves declared. In a message that they posted online afterward, they said they accessed almost 10,000 channels and got unreleased projects, raw images, code, logins, links to internal API/web pages, and more. Now there's something we have to talk about here. The employee. How did this even happen? I mean, well, I guess we know how it happened. But this guy, what's going on with this guy? Now, one bit about this whole thing that everyone seems to agree is crazy is that all it took for the hackers to get in was a misstep from an employee. The fact that they downloaded a game mod on a computer at home. Obviously a computer that they also use for work. Stupid to do that. Everyone, if you have a work phone, a work computer, please get a normal laptop, a home phone. If you guys are on your school account, I don't even know why you're watching this video on your school account. I don't even know if it's going to be restricted on your school account, actually. I remember when I was in high school, some kids would be like, I don't have a personal email, I just use my school one. Guys, get a personal email, get personal everything. I'm yapping. Let's continue with the story. What's even crazier is that the hackers released the employee's name, his full name, along with the stolen files. In their message, they had the line, "I thought we had something special. Employee name here," which I'm not gonna share, but trust me, it was his full legal name. They also promised to share, quote, literally every bit, end quote, of his information from logins and cards to social security number. That was maybe because as they were downloading data, he must have realized what was going on and cut them off. They said that releasing his information was to serve a, quote, warning for people in the future, though the meaning of that isn't really clear. I mean, I know you guys are against AI, but what was he doing? I guess they would say he's working for Disney. Is that a strong case to want to release someone's social security number? You tell me. I'm gonna go ahead and guess it was just like a wake-up call for the company to see like they really don't like AI, that they will target our innocent employees. I'm gonna guess that's what it was, but that's just me speculating a bit. Independent publications were also able to verify that indeed the guy was a Disney employee and that he had been with the company for 9 years and lived in LA. Now, regarding that employee, speculations were that he faced some consequences. Alright guys, this just in. I know I'm interrupting the video. I usually don't even look like this while I'm recording my videos, but I do want to add some very important context to this story and to the man that these hackers used to hack Disney. So while doing some of the research for this video, I did find a GoFundMe, but I thought nothing of it. I was just like, oh, it's popping up on Google Images. But now that I'm like really looking at the GoFundMe, this is the man. So here's the GoFundMe. A hacker destroyed our brother's life. Krista Meyer and J Van Andel are organizing this fundraiser. Now, even though I did keep his name anonymous, and I'm going to try my best to keep at least his first name anonymous, I'm just showing you guys that it correlates, right? The last name. But even if we didn't have that, we have an update that was left about 2 months ago now with 2 links. These links take us to siblings of Disney engineer named an alleged hack defend his innocence. He did nothing wrong and his entire family has been ruined. So this is confirmed him. Who else was a Disney employee and got hacked? So this does give us a lot of context. It's not necessarily so much that we just have to assume the story. They tell us the story right here. So just like in my creepypasta videos, I'm gonna read word for word what they wrote. Just a few weeks ago, our big brother Matt, who also goes by Dutch, was recently the victim of a vicious hacker. This criminal has taken the most extreme measures to destroy his career, his finances, his reputation, and every aspect of his personal well-being. The extent of these malicious acts, which are continuing to unfold, affect the life and security of not only himself, but those of his family and 2 young children. After gaining access to a family computer, the hacker watched our brother and his family for months, stealing every piece of personal information they could get their hands on. Bank accounts, credit cards, logins, medical records, even sensitive information about his children, including limited information about his career. When the hacker made their presence known and tried to extort our brother for additional information, he instead went directly to the authorities and put himself, his family, and his reputation at risk to protect his employer. The hacker retaliated over his unwillingness to comply by publicly releasing personal information and attempting to make an example out of him so that the next victim would comply with their sadistic demands. It's interesting, they're saying a hacker and not like a hacker group. From what we know, yeah, it was nullbuldge, but it seems like it was a group and they're referring to this as a person. Maybe there was a leader or like a significant, like a one-person role that was the extorter, the person really trying to push for this information, and nullbuldge is the group. Just spitballing there. For legal and privacy reasons, our brother cannot currently tell his story himself, but we, his family, who are seeing the aftermath of a man who did the right thing suffer horribly in the wake of this, have decided to tell what we can on his behalf. Even beginning to unravel the damage this malicious entity has done will require very skilled legal representation, which we are hoping to help him secure so that he can begin to put his life back together. Since there are open investigations involved as the authorities seek out this person, we must intentionally refrain from disclosing too much information from the time being. But this will be a long road, and my brother and his family need and deserve help. He did the right thing, and evil, immoral people have taken measures to completely destroy both him and his family for that. We're hoping we can raise enough to ensure he can continue to undo the damage that was caused and help alleviate the financial stress the family is faced with navigating during this very difficult time out of no fault of their own. Please consider contributing anything you can while he and his family figure out how to best navigate and survive this horrific and senseless attack. His finances are devastated, his family is devastated, and our brother, who is normally cheerful, generous, and outgoing, has utterly shut down due to weeks of constant escalating trauma. Please help us restore his hope that doing the right thing can be rewarded. Our goal currently reflects an estimate based on getting him established with legal counsel as well as trying to recover the family's immediate expenses. The amount may change as the situation evolves. As we know what we can safely say on his behalf, we will post updates. We, his family, are in your debt for liking, sharing, or donating. Wow, this adds a very realistic, emotional point to the story that this video is actually going to go without. But what's making me really wonder is, no way Disney isn't, like, I guess Disney's not covering for him, you know? Like, he has to pay for lawyers on his own. I guess it was his mistake, but it was, like, who would have thought, you know, to get hacked through downloading a game mod, and he just so happened to work for the biggest company in the world. And now that biggest company, I'm going to assume they fired him. I don't know. We're going to read another update. But just the fact that it's like, bro, you got to collect scraps on your own to get your own lawyer. Like, and it's Disney. They got money. You would think that they're going to protect their employees to a T. Looks like not yet. Maybe hopefully he wins the case and then Disney covers it. I don't know. That's reaching at that point, but let's check out the update. All right, so there's a total of 4 updates. Kind of lengthy, I'm not gonna lie. So I'm gonna try to just speed run it. Still be fluent, obviously, but let's get started. These updates are from the oldest to the newest. So August 6th of 2024. After seeking legal counsel, my brother and his family will be prioritizing the immediate need to work on rebuilding their lives. The financial goal has been increased to reflect the many things they will need assistance with as they struggle to recover. Please help if you can. Anyone who knows him knows he's a man of integrity and kindness, and the injustice of the situation has broken all those who love him. Thank you all for your support during this difficult time. The outpouring of support and kindness has been very needed in the face of this horrific situation. August 14th, 2024. Hello everyone. I apologize this update was not posted sooner, but we needed some time to reflect on how best to navigate the difficult landscape that this situation has placed on my brother's life. First, we are so immeasurably grateful for the outpouring of support and donations from so many of his friends, family, co-workers, and kind strangers alike. It really means the world to see the outpouring of goodness in the face of so much hardship and heartbreak. We had hoped that with the proper team and support, our brother would be granted the basic human right of defending himself, setting the record straight, and regaining what was wrongfully taken from him. Unfortunately, we have to work within the confines of social and legal systems that let those with money and power crush those without. So after careful consideration and research with the help of legal counsel, it's become apparent to us that pursuing anything akin to justice or truth would only result in more suffering for him and his family. This is a risk that they simply cannot afford. Since the hope of a positive outcome is so bleak, legally speaking, and given the players involved, we have been forced to make the very hard decision to refocus our efforts to helping him start over and rebuild his life. As you may be aware, it's a very difficult time for those in his industry to be out of work, and the visibility of this situation only makes it more difficult. He's a man of talent, passion, and immense skill. So we're hopeful that with the patience and support from everyone, we can help get him and his family through this period. The reality is that this vicious hack has resulted in him senselessly losing a career he loved. Okay, so it's confirmed he lost the job. At a company he loved, with the people he loved. So until he's able to get his reestablished gainful employment, these are the costs we're trying to cover in the meantime. Health insurance, family of 4, rent, Los Angeles area, utilities, used car, Sadly, the cost of living in the Los Angeles area where they live is extremely high, and even pulling all potential resources, they only have a couple months until all funds are exhausted. Because his prior job was fully remote and any new opportunity is highly unlikely to be, in addition to immediate bills, we also need to ensure we can help get him a used vehicle so he has the ability to commute. We all very much wish we could say more on his behalf, but given the real risk of potential retaliation by certain powerful parties related to this matter, we are unable to do so. We thank you all so much for your compassion, your kindness, and your support. Please continue to like, share, and donate. If you know the family, please reach out with words of encouragement as they are much needed right now. The emotional toll on our brother has been extreme, and we know your kind words are what is keeping him going right now. Thank you. September 11th, 2024. My brother is continuing to work with law enforcement in hopes of bringing the hacker to justice. It was the hacker who threatened him, but it was ultimately his employer, who he had trusted and defended, who callously and maliciously dealt the final blow. Believing in justice and doing the right thing cost him his career, his livelihood, and his peace of mind, just as the hackers had threatened. But the job market for tech workers is worse than it's ever been. Even with his impressive resume and glowing reputation, and after submitting hundreds of applications, he has yet to receive even a single interview. With savings running out, we continue fighting with him. The good news is that we've identified some new legal options and are attempting to pursue those as best we can. Unfortunately, legal processes can be quite slow and costly, and we don't expect much movement on those before his family funds run out. Matt is having a very difficult time with this emotionally, as the entire process of finding a job and pursuing legal remedies forces him to continuously relive those traumatic events. Please help us continue to spread the word of this injustice and do whatever we can to help Matt and his family until they can recover. As much as they've already lost, there's still so much more they stand to lose if they cannot recover quickly. All right, so now we're going to read update number 4. I think as I'm reading the story, I am like, I'm not going to censor his name or his face. I think raising awareness for this on my platform is the least I can do. So yes, there will be a link to this GoFundMe down in the description. You know, I was trying to play it as like, you know what, let's keep him anonymous. Let's keep him like that. But it seems like him and his family are just fully acknowledging this and want help. So I'm going to do my duty and spread this to hundreds of thousands of people. Let's get on to update number 4. And then this is where he links 2 articles, and these are the articles. This is the first one I showed, and this is another one. Okay, so this one has a paywall. That's really annoying. And this one just doesn't seem that credible. I don't know. It looks kind of spammy, but from the looks of it, it seems like they did get some publications, but not many, not many, if this is all that they got. Anyway, let's get on to his story. This is the length of it. It's going to be a little bit of a read. I've decided to add my own public statement. Everyone knows that fraud and hacking exist, but until recently I have to admit that I was naive to how extensive, personal, and egregious these acts could be allowed to reach in no time at all. What is more, I was also naive to the total lack of recourse our society has created to protect those who have fallen victims to such crimes. Our legal system, our employment systems are not built for the common person. It's not even a playing field. My brother is Matthew J Van Andel. Unfortunately, you can Google his name now. He was the victim of a vicious hack that made news outlets such as CNN, The Wall Street Journal, LA Times, but none of them posted the whole truth. While we've been forced to watch my brother and his family suffer things no one should have to suffer, and we rallied together to desperately try to pick up the pieces with him, the biggest injustice here is that the one good man in this was allowed absolutely no recourse to protect himself, no path to justice or protection or comfort. The system is failing him. He did the right thing, and the system was in no way designed to help protect him or to defend himself. If we do not learn from this, criminals will continue to thrive and grow in numbers, and this will become less and less of a unique story. Less of us will have the luxury of being naive to these realities like my brother and my family have now become. The hackers, as in any hack, gained access to my brother's family computer via a piece of malware. This malware began harvesting all his personal data, including access to his secure password storage. Now that they had access, they began to dig and fester like a spreading infection, stealing information and looking for things they could use to threaten, damage, and manipulate. We think of hackers as just in it for the money, so you would think they would have just stolen his banking and credit cards and that would be it, which they did. However, they can be far more vicious than that, and so it was with this criminal. When they noticed he worked for the most recognizable company on the planet, they saw an opportunity for more attention. What they didn't count on was their victim caring more about what was right than what was easy. When the criminal responsible noticed where he was employed and attempted to blackmail him for additional information about his employer or money, my brother didn't comply. The hacker went to great lengths to ensure he would be made an example of, so the next person who fell victim would comply. And this is the culture of fear we need to do something as a society to bring awareness to and to stop. Since what this hacker wanted was attention, I will not name them here. I don't want to give him one more ounce of gratification after all the damage they've done. If he did not comply, the hacker threatened they would ruin his life, his career, and his family and children's lives, in addition to leaking every ounce of information they had illegally stolen from his personal computers. My brother, being a good and honest man, did not flinch and immediately contacted the police, the FBI, and his employers, even at great personal risk to himself. Unfortunately, the hacker immediately made good on their promise and made as much of an example of him as they could muster. They contacted news outlets and leaked his name, calling him their inside man. Every ounce of personal information about him, his wife, and his 2 young children, from social security numbers to banking information to medical information, was all publicly and loudly posted on the internet, along with internal communications from his job that were stolen from this one hack. Good people tend to assume the goodness in others, and this is what my brother did. Doing the right thing is almost never doing what is easy, but we know the way to honor him is to continue to try to do what is right. What happened to my brother and his family could happen to literally any one of us. We need to bring awareness to this and change the system that would prevent him from protecting and defending himself and his family, because it may not be what is easy, but it's what is right. While his hands may be tied from saying anything, we as his family have been forced to watch all this unfold alongside him, feeling helpless, watching the extremely real trauma be forced on him, his wife, and my nephews over the course of these months. The very least we can do is try to tell the truth on his behalf. His name, reputation, and job should not be tarnished for the actions of others. Wow, that was a lot. Looks like this is far from over. It's just so sad. Also, in another article, one of the ones that they linked, it said that he got the malware not through the video game, but through the AI image Comfy UI, the thing I mentioned before, that malware, because he was just trying to use it with his kids to have fun. This is literally a horror story that can happen to anyone. Like, what was he supposed to do? He literally did do the right thing. I think if he were to comply with the hackers and be like, I'm gonna get y'all some more information, just leave me out of this, they were gonna get caught, or he was gonna get caught. It looks like these hackers still haven't been caught, but he definitely would have been caught and he would be in prison. You know, so it's either go to prison for probably life, or have your life ruined because these hackers, because you told on these hackers. Literally a lose-lose situation. I sincerely hope Disney is doing something behind the scenes. Hopefully they're gonna get to the bottom of this. I don't know what that means, but hopefully they get justice for this man. Obviously these hackers are horrible people. It's truly a sad story. Now that we got all the context through about the employee, aka the aftermath, let's continue with the video. The video might be a little bit not in order because I found this out while editing, but I will say again, the GoFundMe is in the description, and God bless these people, for real. God bless him and his family, because this sounds like a nightmare. What we know for sure though is that after making away with the data, nullbuldge contacted the Wall Street Journal, confirming that they targeted Disney for how it handled artist contracts, along with their use of AI and the quote, pretty blatant disregard for the consumer. The group also said that they found it fit to release the data publicly because they stood no chance trying to negotiate with Disney over it. They sort of knew Disney would immediately lock them down and try to take them out, so they had to quote, fire first. Still, Disney with its massive team of lawyers was able to shut down most of the damage. Their website, for example, was taken down sometime after the hack. Then, as if to clean up its internal mess from the hack, Disney announced that they were going to abandon Slack for a new streamlined enterprise-wide collaboration tool. Mark Benioff, the CEO of Salesforce, which owns Slack, did however confirm to the media that Slack security was quote, rock solid. Part of the aftermath also has to be the specific content in the 1 terabyte that was stolen and what other hacking groups might do with it. There were such concerns online from the day people learned of the hack, and although the group allegedly unsuccessfully tried to dump the files on 4chan, it's safe to assume they definitely ended up finding someplace else where other hackers could get to them. Actually, if the Disney Plus hacks from back in 2019 are anything to go by, then the hackers and dark web dealers will always find something to do with such information. For Disney Plus, they were simply reselling accounts with changed passwords for between $3 and $7. And it's also not uncommon for companies to spend a lot of money trying to mitigate any damage from data leaks. I'm not saying Disney did that or will do that, but just putting it out there that that exists. There's a recent report that said a Fortune 500 company paid a record-breaking $75 million to a hacking group known as Dark Angels just to contain potential damage from data leaking out. Now, the aftermath aside, it's also interesting that barely a month before the nullbuldge hackers attacked, a different group, Club Penguin fans, had hacked into a Disney Confluence server and made away with 2.5 gigabytes of internal corporate data. Now, I know we're not talking about the nullbuldge hack anymore, but I have to bring this one up because 1, it's Disney, 2, it was Club Penguin. So let me give you guys a little bit of insight to that hack. It said that originally the Club Penguin fans had hacked the server to steal information about the game, but then while in there, they found more than just game information. And just for a bit of clarity, Club Penguin was a multiplayer online game that you could access on your web browser, and that was sadly shut down back in 2017. They also shut down its successor Club Penguin Island in 2018, so the official version of the game ran from 2005 to 2017/2018. However, being that it was already extremely popular with a whole community behind it, fans found a way to host it on private servers. These were run by a combination of fans and developers and had thousands of players. Also worth pointing out that some indie developers did go as far as trying to host a rewritten version of the game, Club Penguin Rewritten, but Disney shut that down extremely fast, even getting the developers arrested. Anyway, part of this dedicated group of fans are the ones that invaded Disney's Confluence server looking for info about the game, but as I said, ended up with more than that. This came to light when an anonymous person apparently posted a link to the quote internal Club Penguin PDFs. This was on 4chan, followed by the statement, "I no longer need these." Smiley face. That link led to an archive of 415 megabytes that had 137 PDFs that had old internal info about the game, including design schematics, emails, documentation, and character sheets. That 415 megabytes was later discovered to have just been a small part of the 2.5 gigabytes that were actually stolen. It included things like Disney's corporate strategies, Disney Plus, advert plans, internal developer tools, internal infrastructure, and business projects. So what did we learn from this? Well, Disney and a lot of other major companies seem to be going in the AI route. They like it. I know we as creators don't really like it. I don't want to be replaced by an AI YouTuber. You know, if there's if AI Tub ever pops up, bro, don't watch him. Watch me, please, guys. But yeah, on one hand, AI it honestly is taking over. It is. I know you guys want to deny it, but it is. It is taking over. And these companies are getting patents, and there's nothing much we could do about it. Another point of the story is the innocent man who got hacked. This poor man, targeted by this group of hackers, left to fend on his own without the backing of Disney. Like I said before, his GoFundMe is going to be down in the description below. But the reason this outro is from the future is because the vibe of the video changed. This was supposed to be, at first, when I was making the video, like whoa, this is interesting. But now it's like, this is interesting, but really sad. So the original outro I had planned was too different than this one. However, moving on to the actual outro, I do want to say we have a new Earl drop. I think I mentioned that a little bit before, but if you want to go check it out, then go check it out. And we also have the Sam plushie out now, also at earldoesn'texist.com. And before the video actually ends, I'm letting you guys know yet again, for the people that stay at the end, love you guys, by the way. I'm getting a buzz cut at the end of December. I'm going to start the new year bald. All right, I'm letting you guys know that right now. This haircut wasn't even planned, it's just coincidental. I got it short, but get ready for me to have a buzz cut. I'm a dye it blue. But yeah, I know I'm gonna look great. Y'all don't gotta worry about that. And I'll see you guys next time I upload.